Victor Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert are teammates. They share a French national team locker room. Gobert has literally called Wemby his little brother. But starting Monday night, they're going to spend the next 2 weeks trying to end each other's season. And Gobert just told reporters something about guarding Wemby that should have every Spurs fan paying attention, and every Wolves fan even more nervous. I'll give you my series prediction later, so stick around for that. But first, let's break down how both teams got here, because the way they arrived at this series tells you almost everything about how it's going to play out.
Put it behind his back, trying to extend a 7-0 run. Spinning out here, all the way to the basket. Oh, Wemby!
Close out and eliminate Denver. Oh my goodness, TJ Shannon punishes the Red.
What the Timberwolves just did to Denver is going to get talked about for months. They closed out Game 6 without Anthony Edwards, without Dante DiVincenzo, and without Ayo Dosunmu, who'd been a revelation off the bench, averaging 30.5 points a night in his 2 starts before a calf strain knocked him out. Kyle Anderson was ruled out before tip-off. Naz Reid was playing through a bad shoulder and ankle. Bones Highland was banged up too. 8-man rotation, 2 of them hurt in a closeout game. 110-98 ball game. Pack it up, Denver. This was supposed to be the Nuggets' redemption night, a get-right game and a head home for Game 7. Instead, the short-handed Timberwolves walked in and ended their season. The story of Game 6 was Jaden McDaniels and Terrence Shannon Jr. McDaniels shut down Jamal Murray and put up 32 points and 10 rebounds of his own, while Terrence Shannon Jr., who was thrust into the starting lineup, hit them for 24 points, 6 rebounds, and just attacked the rim every chance he got. He went straight at Jamal Murray over and over, wearing him down on one end so Murray had nothing left on the other. Doris Burke called it live in the 4th quarter, said she'd ride with Shannon over Mike Conley down the stretch because his speed, paired with the Gobert, Reid, Randall front court, was something Denver couldn't match. 2 minutes later, he hit an and one to ice it. But the biggest story is what was true all series. Minnesota just played harder. Denver had their issues, sure. Murray couldn't shoot his way out of a paper bag, going 4 for 17 in Game 6 and 35% from the field for the series. They were missing Aaron Gordon for stretches and didn't have Peyton Watson at all. Fine. But Minnesota earned every bit of it, beating them to loose balls, controlling the glass. They made every possession physical. A team that led the NBA in offensive rating during the regular season, over 122 points per 100 possessions, failed to crack 100 points in 3 of the 6 games. That's Jaden McDaniels turning Murray into a 26% three-point shooter. I think it's safe to say McDaniels has Murray's number, full stop. That's also Rudy Gobert holding Jokic under 37% effective field goal percentage when matched up one-on-one, the worst mark Jokic has had against any single defender in a playoff series. And before we move on, can we finally bury the Gobert is a playoff liability thing? People love bringing up the Luka step back from the conference finals. They never bring up the part where Minnesota dominated his minutes that whole postseason and got crushed when he sat. Across his 4 playoff runs in Minnesota, the Wolves are nearly a +8 per 100 possessions with him on the floor, second best on the team behind only McDaniels. He just turned in a Defensive Player of the Year clinic against the best offensive center in the league. Let's move on from that take now. The Wolves drifted through chunks of the regular season looking bored, like they had another level and weren't interested in showing it.
Got the feature role tonight. Edwards! Oh, he's a Skywalker!
The promise was always, wait until the playoffs. Well, the playoffs are here, and the team that looked disconnected in February is suddenly the most locked-in group in the West. Now the reality check. The injuries are brutal, DiVincenzo is done, Edwards is unlikely to be back for Game 1, and even if he does come back, you have to wonder what version you're getting. The margin for error against a hobbled Denver team about to disappear, because the team waiting for them in the second round, right now, this whole season feels like it's orbiting around them. For Spurs fans, this is the end of 9 years in the wilderness. No series win since 2017, years of waiting, years of rebuilding, years of hoping this moment would actually show up. It's here. When the season tipped off, there was optimism, but it was the long-term kind. This was supposed to be a stepping stone, a glimpse of what could be, not the full arrival. Then they finished off Portland in 5, 114-95 in Game 5, total control from start to finish, and the most telling part, Wembanyama took the 7th most shots on that team that night. That should scare the rest of the West, because this Spurs team is not a one-man show. The Spurs aren't waiting for Vic to bail them out every possession. They have a system. They have multiple guys who can hurt you. They have answers when teams take something away. The Spurs showed flashes of this during their perfect February run when everything clicked and the league started paying attention. Back then, it felt like potential. Now, it feels real. Whatever doubts were left about hitting a playoff wall, gone. Questions about a second star next to Wemby, irrelevant. The idea that they needed to swing big for another superstar, unnecessary. This team is the answer. No chasing names like Giannis Antetokounmpo, no panic moves, just patience and belief in the group they built. The depth, the versatility, the constant adjustments. Every time Portland tried something, San Antonio had a counter ready. Behind all of it was Wemby, warping the floor on both ends, shrinking driving lanes, erasing space. His 13 blocks across the final 2 games were just the exclamation point. But it's not just him. De'Aaron Fox has been everything they needed running point. He's already turned in multiple dominant playoff stretches that reminded everyone exactly why he was an all-star before the trade. Stephon Castle has become a nightly stabilizer, the kind of two-way guard who wears teams down across a series. Dylan Harper is emerging faster than anyone expected, playing like he's been doing this for 10 years instead of being a rookie still figuring out NBA speed. Young guys stepping into playoff basketball and actually delivering. That's not normal, but that's a sign of what's to come. So yeah, the Spurs got their first playoff series win in 9 years. The rebuild worked, the vision was right, but they didn't come this far just to prove a point. They want more, and right now, there's nothing about the way they're playing that suggests this is where the run ends. All respect to the Blazers and the way they clawed through a chaotic season, but Minnesota is a different animal. The Wolves are going to put their hands on every drive, bodies in space, possessions get more crowded, more physical every trip down the floor. Every whistle starts feeling like it's going the other way. That's their game. What beats that is variety. Minnesota's strength is disruption. The Spurs' strength is having an answer for everything. When the Wolves faced Jokic and Murray, they had Gobert for one and McDaniels for the other. Specialists for specific problems. That's how Minnesota plays. Elite resistance matched up by personnel. But San Antonio doesn't give you 1 or 2 creators to scheme around. Fox can take over one night, Castle can swing momentum in a stretch, Harper can stabilize an offense that stalls. Different games, different guys, but the result is the same. Someone's always tilting a matchup, and lurking behind all of it is Wemby. Honestly, the Spurs might be the scariest when Wemby doesn't dominate the ball. Not because he's less important, because his off-ball gravity is so extreme that defenses can't relax for a single second. Every cut, every screen, every roll bends the floor. Portland felt that all series. They competed, they pushed, but the Spurs just kept finding new ways to attack them. Pace, options, and pressure from different angles. By Game 5, you could see the resignation on Portland's faces. There was no answer. Wemby's regular season speaks for itself. League leader in blocks again, All-Star starter, MVP finalist, locked into All-NBA first team and All-Defensive first team. He anchored a 60-win Spurs season as a 22-year-old. But Minnesota has real edges of their own. The biggest one is experience. This is the Wolves' 3rd straight trip to the second round after back-to-back trips to the Western Conference Finals. They know how a 7-game series breathes. They know how momentum swings game to game. They know how to survive when things turn ugly. The Spurs are young. A lot of these guys have never been here before, and there's a reason teams talk about playoff experience like it's real currency, because it is. Minnesota are heavy underdogs again, and rightly so against a 62-win team. But that won't stop them from throwing everything they have at Wemby and the Spurs. Minnesota also still has size in the front court. Gobert remains one of the most disruptive defenders in the league, and his familiarity with Wemby from the French national team adds another wrinkle to this. He understands angles, he can test without fouling, he knows how to slow a game down when it needs slowing. If anyone in the league has reps and data on Wemby's tendencies, it's him. But on the other end, Wemby just held Portland to 19% on his contested shots across 5 games. He piled up 16 blocks in the series. He became only the 3rd player since blocks became an official stat in 73-74 to average at least 20 points and 4 blocks across his first 4 career playoff games. The other 2, Brook Lopez and Alonzo Mourning. Even Shaq is out here calling him the first perfect big man in the game.
I think Wemby is the first perfect big man that's ever created.
The Wolves' edge isn't just size or experience, it's fight. That's the one thing that has given San Antonio problems at different points this season. Minnesota has enough length and physicality to make Wemby uncomfortable. Gobert's presence means they won't be intimidated in the paint. But the deeper concern for Minnesota is personnel. The Spurs' guard rotation has been a strength all year, and the Wolves are running out of healthy guards to match it. If both teams were intact, this would feel like a much tighter series. Instead, Minnesota is trying to survive elite perimeter pressure with a depleted backcourt. With Edwards and DiVincenzo both sidelined, Dosunmu was forced into a starting role. He gave them 43 in Game 4 before the calf strain knocked him out. If he comes back, he's stepping into a far more aggressive defensive scheme than anything Denver threw at him. Castle, Fox and Harper are going to make him work for every touch. Then there's Edwards. The entire tone of this matchup changes depending on his status. He hurt his knee in Game 4 against Denver, and there's optimism but no guarantees. Everyone knows what he brings on offense, but his defensive activity in that Denver series was just as big. Multiple high-level rim protections, including the play where he actually got hurt, contesting a fast break finish. Against a Spurs team that thrives in transition, that two-way presence might be the difference between staying afloat and getting run off the floor. For the Spurs, the obvious question is managing Wemby's body across a long playoff run. They've shown they can survive stretches without him in the regular season, but you'd rather not test that against a desperate Wolves team that just spent 6 games punching Denver in the mouth. The bigger concern is offensive rhythm. There'll be moments in this series where the Spurs' offense looks stuck. Possessions slow down, spacing tightens, easy looks dry up. That happened at times against Portland, but Portland didn't have the shooting or the shot creation to punish those lulls. Minnesota's defense will. If the Spurs' offense gets bogged down for a half, the Wolves can absolutely steal a game. The Spurs have moved themselves into legit championship conversations this postseason. They've passed every test so far, and each one reinforces the same idea. When they're clicking, they overwhelm. Wemby has looked every bit the franchise centerpiece, and his approach has been steady, mature, and consistent under playoff pressure. The young core hasn't blinked. The guard rotation has held up under intensity. When everything is functioning, this is one of the most balanced teams left in the playoffs. Equal parts structure, depth, and top-end talent. That balance hasn't shown flashes over the last few months. It's been their identity. There's also a layer of history and symbolism baked into this matchup, almost a sports movie romantic feel to it. On one side, you have the passing of the torch feel. Rudy Gobert, one of the defining defensive centers of the modern era, going up against Victor Wembanyama, the new French standard who already looks like he's rewriting what a big man can do. It's the most meaningful French-on-French playoff matchup since the era of Tony Parker ended in San Antonio. Nobody on Minnesota seems more locked into this than Gobert himself. After his 10-point, 13-rebound, 8-assist closeout in Game 6, he was asked about the Spurs and framed it the way you'd expect from a competitor who's seen everything. He called it another elite challenge, on the level of facing Jokic, the kind of matchup you live for at this stage. He pointed out the 62 wins, the discipline on both ends, and the coaching. There was nothing casual in his tone, no shortcuts. When asked about Wemby specifically, even Gobert can't hide the respect. He's described him as a more fluid, stronger through contact, and capable of scoring in ways that force defenders into impossible decisions. He basically admitted that at a certain point, it starts feeling like guarding Jokic. You don't stop everything, you just try to survive the waves. About as honest as it gets. So can Gobert slow Wemby enough to give Minnesota a chance? Maybe. He's probably the best suited defender in the league for this specific job. He's going to make Wemby earn every touch, but slow him and stop him are very different things. And Wemby has different ways to score, some that Jokic doesn't have. He can pop and shoot threes, put it on the floor, post up, finish above the rim from standing still. Pick a flavor. The two of them split the regular season 2-1 in Minnesota's favor, but that was October and January. This is the postseason. Different stakes entirely. So the question becomes simple. Can Gobert slow Wembanyama enough for Minnesota to pull off another upset? Right now, I'm leaning Spurs in 6. Minnesota's dangerous, I'm not pretending otherwise. They just took out a team a lot of people picked to come out of the West. Their defense is real, their fight is real. The experience matters in a series that goes deep. But San Antonio just feels more complete. Wemby controls both ends of the floor, Fox has already shown he can produce surgical playoff stretches. Castle and Harper bring guard pressure that Minnesota's depleted backcourt isn't built to absorb over 7 games. If the Spurs win this, it's because they control terms early, push the pace, get out in transition before Minnesota's defense gets set. Use Wemby as a perimeter threat to drag Gobert away from the rim, turn every Wolves mistake into a run out. The worst thing San Antonio can do is let this become a slow, half-court rock fight where Minnesota's physicality takes over. Minnesota's path is narrower, but it exists. They need Edwards back at something close to full strength. McDaniels has to make Fox and Castle uncomfortable on every touch. They probably need Julius Randle to give them 20 plus a night to keep the offense viable. Their best shot is flipping this into a rock fight. I can see Minnesota stealing one in San Antonio, maybe grabbing another at home if Ant comes back and the Target Center turns into a war zone. But over a full series, San Antonio might have too many answers in too many directions, and the Wolves starting backcourt is in street clothes. That's not a hole you can fix mid-series, no matter how much heart you've got. The only question left is whether the Spurs' stability holds when the games stop being comfortable. The Wolves won a series with their backcourt in street clothes. Can they pull off another upset? Let me know your prediction in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like and hype buttons, subscribe for more videos like this one, and check out one of these videos on your screen now.